Really good. Thanks for coming to the beach with us today.
All right.
Jesse Patterson, Deputy Director of the League to Save Lake Tahoe, meets volunteers at Baldwin Beach. He prepares them to take on the enemy. Invasive weeds like Eurasian water milfoil and curly leaf pondweed are formidable.
An invasive kind of comes in, and there's really no natural checks for them. So they grow kind of unobstructed, and they take over large areas, and then they alter the habitat to make it more hospitable for themselves and less hospitable for the natives we want here.
But it's kind of growing in groups.
The trainees stalk the plants on the beach, crouch near ponds,
And you feel free to step in the water.
snorkel,
I know a lot of us splash.
shake weeds, and drag rakes through submerged bushes. With 71 miles of shoreline, authorities could use some help. In just 1 month, the League has already trained 30 people what to look for and how to report it. Nicole Juergens with the League says the trainees should seek but not destroy.
So if you don't know the technique, if you don't know how to do it correctly, you could actually be making the problem worse.
The weeds can spread with just the touch of a finger, so it takes specialized training to remove them. But for now, the League has some new frontline recruits. Kai Plaskon, Capital Public Radio News.
Jesse Patterson, Deputy Director for the League to Save Lake Tahoe. Yes, it is new. Today's a field session for the Eyes on the Lake training, where we teach citizen monitors how to identify aquatic invasive plants that are threatening the ecosystem here. Well, they're here and they shouldn't be. They're spreading rapidly and they're taking over kind of the native ecosystem. The problem with aquatic invasive plants is that they don't play nice with the natives. They can kind of take over large areas, they change the substrate, they can affect the aesthetics. So we have this beautiful clear lake. Once the plants get here, they get kind of murky, they create little fine sediments under them that disturb real easily. And they make it more hospitable for other invasives like invasive fish, and we don't want those here either.
Oops.
This is our pilot year. This is like a month old. Brand new program, something we've been brainstorming for a while. The agencies in Tahoe have been working on combating aquatic invasive plants for a long time, and other aquatic invasives as well. Well, there's surveying happening on an annual basis by the agencies, but that's just once a year, and they only target certain areas. This program's great because so many people come to Tahoe, play on the water, they're all over the place all the time. And if they know what they're looking for, they can actually provide information that the agencies can use to respond to these infestations before they get really big and bad and harmful. And I don't think there's such a thing as too much information. The part that's really important is that we verify the information to make sure it's accurate. So we already have an AIS hotline that people respond to, but if they don't know what they're reporting on, we can get a lot more false information. So this program is trying to make the information we're getting a little more accurate, a little better. We provide waterproof ID guides that people can take with them in the field, and we teach them how to fill out survey sheets and how to report that to us. Currently, we don't. People are turning them in via email or mailing in their survey sheets, or they can call us anytime.
What about describing where it is, though?
GPS is probably the most accurate way to do it, and we tell some folks how to use some free apps on phones to get their GPS coordinates. But of course, we want people to take descriptive notes as well. When somebody reports an infestation, we're going to call them back and ask if they want to join us in a verification process. So we'll send an expert out from the League or from the TRPA or the TRCD to get out there, and hopefully the person who saw it will come with them and point out where it was. I mean, that's the best way. Dislike. Wow. Well, there's two in Lake Tahoe right now, Eurasian water milfoil and curly leaf pondweed. Those are the two we're primarily focusing on. However, there's others around in lakes nearby, particularly in the delta areas, that are not here yet, but we put them on a watch list because we want to know immediately if they get here. But those two, Eurasian water milfoil and curly leaf pondweed, are the two we're after right now. Well, I guess the primary difference between a native and an invasive is natives are kept in check by the rest of the ecosystem. So they grow in small patches, they're friendly with their neighbors. An invasive kind of comes in, and there's really no natural checks for them. So they grow kind of unobstructed, and they take over large areas, and then they alter the habitat to make it more hospitable for themselves and less hospitable for the natives we want here.
Do you think that you're fighting a losing battle?
I don't think so. I wouldn't be fighting it if I thought it was a losing battle. It'll be a long battle, I think, but the more people that are aware of what these plants are and how they get here, and particularly how they spread, which is typically people, I think we have a better chance at fighting them. It is a long-term battle, but it's something that I think we can come out on the winning end of. It's clean, drain, and dry. So you hear that for the boat inspections. That applies to us too. That applies to your hiking boots, to your fishing gear, to your kayaks, your paddle boards, anything like that. Luckily, aquatic invasive plants dry out pretty quickly when they're out of the water and they are no longer able to spread. So if we can just prevent them from being transported in, say, a wet environment.
Nicole Juergens, Natural Resources Manager. So the classroom, first of all, we do a quick introduction of why this is a problem to begin with and why we need citizens like these folks out here looking for these species. The second part is doing a more formal lecture about the specific plants. Some people have different learning styles. Our classroom changes have been going really well. I think what we've been noticing is the data that we collect, filling out the sheets is often cumbersome for people who are out playing on the water. So long-term goal is to develop a phone application so that people get off the beach, get onto their towel, get back in their boat, and can really quickly enter what they found. And we're hoping that will encourage more people to report more often. Oh, it's great. I think it's great for everyone, and I think that's why we've gotten such a great bunch of folks out here who are really interested, because folks are out playing on the water anyways, having fun, and it's a way they can contribute without really putting much extra time in.
My name is Linda Goodman. Yes, I have my handy journal, and I'm going to list where I am and what the date is, and then I'm going to list species, not necessarily invasive species, but those for sure, which we just found, and also any other that might be worth noting. Yes, I'm doing it because I like to kayak, so I'm out on the water a lot, and I'm a water skier, so I'm out in the water on boats a lot, so I just think that I have the great opportunity to contribute. Because in our particular marina where we keep our boat, there's lots of plants, and I know that most of the stuff that is there is not supposed to be there, and now I can tell what is supposed to be there and what shouldn't be there. Note it and then let the authorities know so they can at least take a look at it.
Hopefully get it out.
Hopefully get it out. Yes, they've been trying. And the marinas and the Keys also, they've been trying to get rid of the invasive species, but it's a really hard battle. It takes a long time.
Do you think that it's ever winnable?
I don't know. I think maybe they can keep it under control and hopefully keep it from spreading, but I'm not sure if they'll ever really get rid of everything.
And then so you'll
Darcy Collins, Executive Director
Of?
the League to Save Lake Tahoe. I took this role about a year and a half ago, been about 19 months. The League to Save Lake Tahoe is the oldest environmental organization focusing solely on the lake, and for the past 55 plus years we've been focusing on advocacy, and we're still a very strong advocacy organization, but over the past year we've really been trying to increase our community engagement, education, and collaboration. Because we feel that we have a lot of influence on the policy and strong environmental regulations, but those can't be successful unless the community also understands why protecting the lake is important. So we feel that the best way to make an impact on the lake is to educate the community about the best ways to protect the lake and how they can have a lower impact and what they can do in their daily lives to ensure that Tahoe stays blue. In the past, we were very successful at working with local policymakers, both at the regional level and the state level and the federal level, and we worked closely with some other stakeholders to get a lot of funding to the lake. So we've done a lot to really build the base and build awareness internationally and nationally, and now we want to work a little more closely with the local community and visitors on a more grassroots level to make sure that individuals are helping us reach those goals. This is our first year at a large level. In the past we've done different stewardship days. We have a long-running forest stewardship day we've been doing for about 10 years, which is one day a year. We get about 200 people out at a particular restoration site, and they help do hands-on restoration. And that was such a successful day that we want to duplicate that and do that multiple times, have more people become engaged, and actually have a bigger tangible impact on restoration and educating. What I noticed when I first started in this role is that we were doing a lot of successful policy work, but there was a disconnect between why we were doing that and what the community perceived. And so that gap really prevented us from going to the next level and getting buy-in and complete understanding of the importance of some of these regulations. There's a lot of things that individuals can do on a daily basis to help keep Tahoe blue, and some of that is what you saw here today, where individuals are learning about what impacts are on the lake, specifically invasive species, and how they can help prevent the spread of the invasive species and also help control. And other things that are really important are to, in your daily lives, to partake in more low-impact activities, such as kayaking, hiking, cross-country skiing. And if they do that and share that with some of the higher impact, then it'll have a beneficial impact on the lake. Exactly. The more volunteers we can get, the better, and get the word out. We're lucky because we have a very well-known slogan, Keep Tahoe Blue, but now we have to teach people what that means. Keeping Tahoe blue means preventing degradation to the lake, and really just to make sure that there's not a lot of nutrients that will increase algal growth, and that happens through a variety of different high impact activities such as runoff from the roadways and from boating and other types of activities. And I would love for anyone who's listening to this broadcast to visit our website, which is keeptahoeblue.org. We have a variety of different volunteer opportunities, ranging from long-term volunteer projects to one-day activities to just getting involved in communities and participating in community planning.